I dreamed of rain and the rain came. It's one of our favorite choir anthems here at Knox, isn't it, Bernie?
Yes, it is.
And notice that the writers say, I dreamed of rain, not of snow. But that's what we have this morning. And we'll give thanks for the moisture, right? But it's also a reminder of how much we miss our choir. Typically on Holy Humor Sunday, they'd be up here on the chancel with us. They'd have their googly eyes and their funny t-shirts and their Easter hats and their kazoos. But we make do in this situation that we're in, and we hope that you're joining with us in spirit on this Holy Humor Sunday, which we'll do a little bit more with in the last third of our service. We'd love to have you send a photo to my email and join in the spirit of this day. Lots of things going on today. It's the third Sunday of Easter. We're continuing our Easter series that Laura Cruikshanks kicked off last Sunday, A Place to Call Home. The scriptures in our Easter season speak of time and again of the community building work of God, of loving one another as kin, as children of God. Several times in the scriptures we hear the word abide, which invites us to reside, to dwell in the presence of the risen Christ. On Easter Sunday, we heard a messenger tell the disciples to meet Jesus back in Galilee, to go back to their home base, back to the place where they had done so much ministry together, where they lived and worked. And during our series, we're exploring what it means to have a place to call home, both physical homes and spiritual homes as well. It's also the week in which we celebrate Earth Day on Thursday, and you'll hear a little bit more about that later in the service. If you have a candle at home, I invite you to join us as we light our Christ candle here at Knox, as we give thanks for the light and love of Christ in our lives and in our world. Our rainbow candles are lit, and they remind us of the affirming ministry that we share together in the welcoming of all God's rainbow children. And on this day that we gather, we acknowledge that we gather on Treaty 2 land, traditional lands of the Dakota Sioux, the Anishinaabe, the Cree and Oji Cree and Dene, and we're here in the heart of the Métis Nation. We give thanks for the culture, spirituality, wisdom, and stewardship of the land of our first peoples, and we value our relationship with them. Today in our series, our theme is You Are Family, and we're going to hear from one of our Brandon Bear Clan members and a member of the Women's Council for the Bear Clan, Lisa Ramsey. So look forward to that a little bit later in our service. Did I miss anything, Bernie? I feel like I left something out. Probably something that we'll get to in the Holy Humor section. But let's join together in joining in our threshold moment. I have to keep Bernie on his toes. He's looking at me like, what?
I was daydreaming there a little bit. Sorry. You caught me off guard.
Let's join in our threshold moment this morning. We'll sing it through in English and then in French, number 62 in more voices. There is room for all.
There is room for
With our focus on home, it feels appropriate to draw from the wisdom of this place many of us call home, Manitoba, land of the Great Spirit in Cree, Manitou, and in Anishinaabe, Manitoba. So I invite you to join with me in a prayer with the four directions. You can do this by standing where you're at and moving in the directions of the home, or you can do this with your eyes closed and visualize moving to each direction. The transforming Spirit of God is with us in all things and witnessed to throughout all creation in many languages and by many names. Our Judeo-Christian scriptures point to hundreds of ways people experienced God's incarnate presence. Let us honor Spirit with us as we open our minds and hearts and doors to God's love coming in many ways. Let us face the east. In the east, the rising sun and gentle breezes, we honor each new day and new beginnings made possible by the breath of the Creator. May the air we breathe be purified, and may our lives feel that breath of Spirit anew. May we receive the gifts of dawning insight and inspiration. Let us turn and face the south. In the south, the place of desert warmth, we honor the gift of fire and all forms of energy. As the sun in the sky makes life possible on earth, we know that God set that sun and its course. We are children cared for in many ways. May we be open as children to receive and share the gifts of food, learning, and creativity. May we share our play and our work with energy and with passion. Let us turn and face the west. In the west, in the setting sun and the many forms of water, we welcome the wellspring and flow of God's healing presence. May water be pure and available to all, and may we be sustained and nurtured over the entire face of the earth. May we let go and be cleansed of all that keeps us from living as we are created to be. Let us turn and face the north. In the north, in the mountains and rooted plants, we welcome the wisdom of being present and manifest here on the earth. We welcome those who came before us and the ways of living and spiritual wisdom they shared with us. Let us return to face the Christ light. May we walk good paths, living on the earth in oneness as siblings, rejoicing in one another's blessings, supporting and caring in one another's sorrows. Holy One, teach us to live as spirit in flesh like Jesus. Amen. Let us sing. let us join in our song of Easter, one of our favorites for Holy Humor Sunday, I Danced in the Morning, number 352 in Voices United.
Psalm 4, a reading about at home. The author of this contemporary psalm, James Taylor, writes, I travel a lot. Sometimes I stay in cold, impersonal, mass-produced hotel rooms. Sometimes in people's homes. Walking in the darkness in an unfamiliar place is always a bit unsettling. In the middle of the night, Lord, I wake. The room is strange. I can't find the light. I can't find the door. I'm afraid. Then I remember, this is your house, God. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was alone and you made me welcome. In your house I have nothing to fear. I can sink back into my bed and set my mind at rest. I put myself in your hands and I trust you. Am I crazy? And am I a fool? Some would say so. They doubt you. But I know the peace I felt when you opened your door and the warmth when you invited me in to share your table. I can let my anxious eyelids close again. In your home, I am home.
You are family. To feel at home is to know a place and a family where it is safe to be vulnerable. In another of Jesus' post-resurrection appearances to the disciples, he shows them the wounds on his hands and feet. This week, we look at what it means to create safe space for bringing all of who we are, wounds and all. For as we are loved by our Creator, the one Jesus named as Abba, Father, so should we love each other as children of God, kin to one another, offering healing community where we may journey together with all our relations toward wholeness. Now a reading from Luke chapter 24, verses 36 to 43. Jesus appears to the disciples. While the disciples were saying these things, Jesus himself stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." They were terrified and afraid. They thought they were seeing a ghost. He said to them, "Why are you startled? Why are doubts arising in your hearts? Look at my hands and my feet. It's really me. Touch me and see, for a ghost doesn't have flesh and bones like you see I have." As he said this, he showed them his hands and feet. Because they were wondering and questioning in the midst of their happiness, he said to them, "Do you have anything to eat?" They gave him a piece of baked fish. Taking it, he ate it in front of them. Let us observe a time of silence as we reflect upon what we've heard today.
It's my pleasure to welcome Lisa Ramsey to come and join us. As I mentioned earlier, Lisa's a member of the Women's Council and the Brandon Bear Clan. She's the coordinator of the Elsbeth Reed Center here in Brandon. And come on up, Lisa, and in that comfy chair.
Thank you.
And I'm going to move the mic for us. Bernie's going to move over to the chat box so that if at some point you have a question that you'd like to ask Lisa, that you can do that. And Lisa's a proud member of the Métis Nation, and so we have some tobacco there for you, Lisa. And yeah, thanks so much for joining us today. You know what? I'm going to move this a little closer to you because folks would much rather hear you than me. I can guarantee you that.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us today. As I said, this is part of our A Place to Call Home series. And I thought about the Bear Clan because in many ways the Bear Clan provides a sense of extended family in our community. But I wonder if you could tell us just a little bit, and I'm just looking, I'm going to move this down a little bit. If you could tell us a little bit about the formation of the Bear Clan coming to Brandon and how you became involved.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate the invitation. The the Bear Clan Patrol actually started in the 90s in Winnipeg, and then they had a brief period where they went on hiatus, and then in, I believe it was 2014 with the passing of Tina Fontaine, the community really said enough. It's time for us to get involved and help out, and so they got started with their patrols in Winnipeg. And then around 2016, there were numerous assaults in Brandon that caused a lot of concern for a lot of us. And Tammy Hosick from the Brandon Friendship Center, Little Teaching Lodge, called a community meeting just to put our heads together and to look at that Winnipeg Bear Clan model and say, is this something we want for ourselves? And a lot of people turned out. There was great interest. And so the organizing started. And then in 2017, we were starting our first patrol, and now we're over 400 patrols in.
Over 400 patrols. That's pretty exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm very proud.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the purpose of the Bear Clan, and specifically here in Brandon. I mean, you've kind of alluded to it just in the formation. Are folks having trouble hearing? I'm going to move it closer.
Sorry, I'll try to speak up. So our purpose is to create that sense of community, that feeling of safety for community members, for all community members. We do lots of practical things. We feed people, we share blankets, we pick up needles, all of those basic things, such as walking people home when they feel scared. We offer cab rides to people to help them get off the streets and to a safer place. Our purpose is to nurture that sense of community for all of us to be able to work together and see our common humanity.
Mm-hmm. And have you noticed, like, now with the Bear Clan being in Brandon for 4 years, you said? Have you noticed how have there been changes or growth with the community? Like, what have you seen in your time?
I feel like we're starting to see the fruits of our labor. I feel like we are gaining that sense of community, certainly amongst ourselves as Bear Clan members. We have a strong connection to one another. I think we're slowly starting to earn a trusting relationship with those that we serve. It takes time, but certainly there are folks in the community who come to us. They initiate contact with us to ask for support and for help. So that tells me we must be on the right track.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. One of the things I remember, I think the first time that I went on patrol was in October of, I guess it would have been 2019, and we went out that night past the skate park, and there were children and youth there. Bear Clan, Bear Clan! And they came running. I mean, it was wonderful to see that. The other thing that really struck me about that night was we had gone down toward Pacific, and we'd met a couple that had just come from the health center and were mourning the illness of a friend. And they invited us to form a circle to pray with them. And that was so powerful that, you know, with their vulnerability in that moment, we could share that with them, and they drew strength from us.
There are so many beautiful moments that we have with community members where we're really connecting heart to heart.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our opportunity to say we are the same.
Right.
We know each other. We all know pain. We all know suffering. We all know grief. And we can connect at that level of that shared life experience. And how can we help each other in those moments when people are feeling down?
Right, right. Tell us, one of the things that's fascinating to me is the way that the group makes decisions and the way that the Women's Council works. So tell us a little bit about that approach, that model.
So traditionally, women were seen as community leaders, and so we do have a Women's Council that forms the leadership group for the Brown and Bear Clan. We work really hard at consensus. We value each other's opinions. We have a lot of respect for one another. And so it means for long discussions sometimes as we make decisions, because we need to be thoughtful and considerate of one another. There's a lot of experienced women on that council who come at it from different directions, and we want to hear each of those voices. So sometimes decisions take time. because we're working it through and we don't want to not hear each voice. So we work really hard at making sure everyone's understood and heard before we proceed.
Yeah, and I've observed that, and it's so powerful to watch that consensus building, to watch the honoring of different opinions. And one of the other things that's amazed me, and I'm sure every week is different, but just the number of hours that the women give to that. Like, do you have a sense of what a normal week is?
There's Bear Clan work every day.
Yeah.
It does take a tremendous commitment, and it is a volunteer-based organization. So you have to have a lot of heart for this to keep you going. There are a lot of practical things that need to be done constantly. Sorting incoming donations, shopping, all the patrol prep, all the administrative paperwork that we do to fulfill grant needs, and then to actually do the service. So it is a difficult thing to measure, but it's a lot.
Right, right. So people see the patrols on Thursdays and Fridays, but that work is going on,
Yes.
like you said, 7 days a week.
The patrols are a fraction of what we do, actually.
Right. Do you have a sense of how many volunteers have participated over the time?
We've had several hundred volunteers. Some come, a few times just to have that experience. Other people have stuck with us week after week for all of these years. So there's been a variety. We've been really happy to have students join us as well. ACC students, BU students come as a class group, and together they're observing and learning, boots on the ground, to, the connection between what they're learning in the classroom and seeing it in real life.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I've been on some of those patrols, and it's interesting to listen in on some of the conversations and the learning that happens. Yeah, it's been wonderful. I mentioned in the prayer at the opening of the service with the 4 directions, the Lakota idea of all my relations, which I see really playing out. Could you tell us, you've already mentioned the ways that the Bear Clan kind of honors that, but are there any other ways or other teachings, Indigenous teachings, that you kind of find prominent as you do that work?
We value the 7 sacred teachings, and the 2 that really stand out for me are love and respect. Those are the cornerstone of everything that we do with each other, in our interactions with those that we serve. I also want to share with you that we have a grandmother's council, and just like any family, we need to show tremendous respect to our grandmothers, and they guide and teach us. If we run into something that we're struggling with, that we need a little guidance with, they come in and teach us, and after those conversations it becomes more clear the direction we need to take. So in so many of the ways we try to honor our Indigenous history. We smudge before every patrol so that we go into those patrols truly listening, truly seeing, speaking in a good way, all of those things. We also have a spring and a fall feast and ceremony to honor that tradition of the bear having their time of rest and then reawakening. So we try to weave that into everything that we do.
Although there's not much rest for the bears in the Bear Clan, is what we're hearing, right? But it's a great idea, isn't it? Hibernation. Yeah. Well, I didn't mention this to you, but if it's okay, we'll just check with the chat box and see if there's any
Of course.
questions from the community. No questions yet. So if you do have a question about the Bear Clan that you'd like to ask, encourage you to put that in the chat box. I know not all of you are able to participate in the chat box.
Craig, can I ask a question?
Sure, Bernie.
So as part of the visioning for Knox, we've been wondering about things that we could do as a community. And I was chatting with Lisa a little bit before, but maybe are there ways that community can get involved in this work?
Absolutely. We rely on community to be able to do this work. So Right now, during this COVID year, we're not allowed to have our volunteers active in the same way. But if people are interested in volunteering, we can at least get the paperwork in order so that when we get out of this COVID time, we'll be able to have people patrol. But organizations help us by providing food, donating blankets, all of the supplies that we need. Those things are great ways to get involved and to help out.
Good.
Yeah.
If you watch our email announcements or our Facebook page, at times we try and publicize the things that the Bear Clan is asking for.
Thank you.
And as we've noted in the past, there's not a lot of storage at the den.
Yes, yes.
So they try and do targeted appeals for certain items that are needed. Yeah. So I'm just wondering if there are any, I asked you about any anecdotes that you'd like to share, any stories from your experience with the Bear Clan that kind of illustrate how the Bear Clan acts as an extended sense of family. And I know we want to honor confidentiality
Yes.
and so forth, but I just wonder if there are any particular stories that come to mind.
I think it's the cumulative effect. There's been so many times that people have quietly approached us during patrols and said things like, I've never told anyone this, but, and then they share a piece of their story. And it's such an honor in that moment to have someone give you a little piece of their life and, hold hope that you will, in a tender way, give them back the love and the respect that they deserve for having survived that life experience. So it's always amazing to me that the degree to which people are willing to share from their heart with us in that context of a foot patrol.
Yeah, I mean, we're not in a counselor's office.
Yeah.
We're not at a school. We're out on the street.
Yeah.
And that really speaks to the power of that we're talking about today, of sharing our woundedness, like being able to be vulnerable with one another, and that the idea that when we're able to do that, to share our pain, then we find the resources and the support to find healing and growth together.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that that I always note when we're on patrol is the relationship that you have with folks and other members of the Women's Council. Like, you call people by name, they know you. I know there have been times when folks have run up, Lisa, Lisa, Lisa. So it really speaks to the relationship building and the trust that you spoke about that's happening. And just the power of calling people by name and offering that space, which is, it's quite a gift to watch it happen in action, and to see that.
I think that people want to be seen, right?
Right.
Like that's our common human need, is to truly be seen, to be heard, to be felt, to be valued. And I think if we can convey that to people, we will earn their respect and trust. Some patrols are heartbreaking.
Right.
They're painful. But when your heart is broken, it becomes open, and you can have that mutual back and forth kind of conversation with someone. And I think people get that. I noticed that many of the people that we serve are good at reading people because they've had to be. That's part of their survival skill set. And so they will know when it's safe to truly share.
Yeah, I've witnessed that ability to read people. It's quite. It tells its own story, doesn't it? Tell us about some of the challenges for the Bear Clan in Brandon. Have there been any specific challenges that you would name in doing this work?
It's hard to feel like it's enough sometimes. We do our best. We would love to be out more often. We want to keep growing and stretching and be more accessible. We'd love to patrol every day. We'd love to patrol through the weekends. So just, rallying that time and energy and frankly money to be able to make that service available all the time, ongoing challenge.
Right. Tell us a little bit about where most of the funding comes from for the Bear Clan, so that people know.
Community donors, grants, individuals in the community who want to support us. We have good partnerships with organizations, for example, Seniors for Seniors. They make us lunch kits every Thursday. We pick them up, and that's a very practical, concrete help. It saves us time and money to be able to make sure we've got enough food each patrol. So, there's lots of individual efforts, group efforts, and then we chase funds wherever we can get them.
Right. Well, and we have some folks here that volunteer with Seniors for Seniors, so that's a great word to share. So yeah, and I know you've talked about dreaming of because right now the den is housed at the Friendship Center, which is the hospitality there has been wonderful, but possibly even a larger place, right? And more programming. So is it primarily funding that's the key to growth for the Bear Clan?
We would need additional staffing to
Right.
be able to operate something all day, every day, more days of the week. All of the women on Women's Council have full-time careers. And many of us are still raising our own families.
Right.
So, we can't do that work during the day ourselves. So yes, staff fundraising is going to be a piece of it. And then all the logistics of running a facility would be an additional piece of work we'd have to strive towards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do they have, I don't know, in Winnipeg, do they have a place that's committed to the Winnipeg Bear Clan?
They do.
They do.
They've been very good at their fundraising efforts, absolutely.
Right.
They've had tremendous success at that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and of course they have a much larger
Yes.
city to draw from,
Yes.
Which is great. Anything that has surprised you in doing this work? I mean, you've been a social worker for, can I ask how long?
25 plus.
25 plus years.
I don't know if it's so much a surprise as I'm always in awe of people's capacity to laugh. People who have nothing in terms of material things and who have suffered so much trauma. And there are times that we have more laughs during patrols than I would have an entire workday. So that resilience, that strong sense of spirit to be able to be lighthearted and laugh about yourself or poke fun in a kind way at somebody else. I just think that's amazing to have that lightheartedness, even though there's tremendous suffering.
Mm-hmm. That's a great word for Holy Humor Sunday, when we're honoring the power of joy, the power of humor. We celebrate it in the Easter season because the tradition is God playing a joke on death through Jesus, right? So even in the midst of our most painful story, in our tradition, there is joy, there is surprise, there is laughter. And at the end of the service today, we sing "Give to Us Laughter," which is such a gift. And I've observed that.
One of our grandmothers, Deborah Tashin, has taught us that is one of the healing ways is laughter.
Right.
So that is a traditional teaching as well. Yeah.
Well, and in my experience, a particular gift of Indigenous peoples. When I participated in the residential school gatherings, I've been amazed at the laughter and humor, even amidst really painful, gut-wrenching stories. And it's such a gift. And as you said, it speaks to that resilience and that strength. Bernie, anything
Yes,
coming in the chat box?
Betty Kelly's asking what practical things that Knox could do to support Bear Clan. So you kind of touched on that, but maybe.
One of the practical things we're short on right now is blankets. So that would be a very concrete kind of way to support us. And, you know, as I say, just if you can watch our Brandon Bear Clan Facebook, we're continuously trying to post when we need items and what sort of items we need. I know that there's been a number of churches in the rural area as well who have brought us juice boxes, lunch bags, Ziploc bags. I mean, these are practical things that we go through by the hundreds every week. So these are some of the tangible things that we need as well.
Yeah, Cindy Price had United Church folk throughout the rural areas making muffins at some point coming in. So yeah, very tangible ways to show love, right?
That's
and
right.
care. Anything else that we've missed that you want to share with us about Bear Clan?
Nothing in particular that I can
Sure.
think of right now, thank you.
Sure. Well, thanks so much for joining us today and for representing the Women's Council here and sharing a bit of that story. And thanks for your work along with the many others that have joined you.
Thank you.
It's such a powerful story here in Brandon, and one that we hope is going to continue to strengthen our community and strengthen our sense of family. I often say here at Knox, we're better together. Just a different way of saying all my relations, maybe, and we see that work through the Bear Clan.
Several
you.
have expressed appreciation for your work here. on the
Thank you
chat box.
very much. We're very grateful to the community. We would not have come this far without the support that we've had so far. Our volunteers are amazing human beings. We treasure each and every one of them, and we're very grateful for the chance to share today. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, well, we're going to just give us a moment to transition, and but first we're going to sing. As part of that transition, we're going to sing our response, When Hands Reach Out Beyond Divides, number 169 in More Voices. 169, When Hands Reach Out Beyond Divides.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, folks. We lost our sound for a minute, thanks to my bumbling.
Well, it is holy humor.
It is holy humor. All right, let's try that again.
And there's a peace of
All right, give us just a moment to transition into our Holy Humor gear. Bernie has some special things. You won't be able to see my tie, my Tigger tie. I love to wear the Trickster from the Winnie the Pooh series, but you can see my curling rock. I know many of you will be amazed given my opinions regarding curling, but Sharon and Rennie Christmas provided this for me to wear for Holy Humor Sunday, and we'll say a little bit more about that in just a moment. We know that the earth is infused with joy and laughter. The Psalms speak of this joy and appreciation for creation, and they reflect a sense of laughter in God's world. Every morning, the earth resonates with joyful energy, whether through the rhythm of raindrops on the roof or the splash of fish jumping in a lake. And every evening, the joyful singing of nature is heard, from cricket songs here on the prairies to the hissing and popping of the aurora borealis at the Arctic Circle. As Ralph Emerson observed, the earth laughs in flowers. It is a joyful noise, the stuff of which we are made. So we celebrate that this day. But we always like to tell a few jokes. Often we do this at the beginning of Holy Humor Sunday, but I thought we'd do this now. Bernie's going to join with me. I think I've got the first one. Is that right?
Yes, you do, Craig. Yeah.
So, we're talking about family today. We are family. And one family was talking about some ways to save money. So a mother suggested to one of her grown sons that they live together all in one house. This was pre-pandemic times. Now a lot of us are living together with our children. But apparently she realized that her son didn't think this would be a very cost-effective way to save money when he said to his mother, "Who's going to pay the therapist?" All right, you're up, Bernie.
Okay. So, a fourth grader had to sell his birthday on crutches. He must have broke his leg. So he couldn't carry the cupcakes to school, to have a party that his mother had made without some help. So the parents asked the son's brother, Noah, to help his brother carry these cupcakes to school. And so the father asked Noah to do this, but Noah replied, "No, I'm not going to do that." So then the parents thought, well, maybe this is a teaching moment. So they said to Noah, "What would Jesus do?" To which Noah replied, "Well, Jesus would heal him so he could carry the cupcakes himself."
Our children are pretty quick when we try and find those teachable moments, aren't they? Did you have any problem like that with your siblings, with your brothers in particular?
Let's see. Well, no, but I bugged them quite a bit because I was the youngest.
You were the youngest, right?
Yeah, the one really I remember, it really wasn't a teaching moment. Well, maybe it was. But I was bugging my older brother, and he the one that now is a minister, and he punched me right here so hard that my head went forward and banged we were out in the barnyard, and banged my front against a fence and knocked this tooth out. So I suppose that was a teaching moment. Don't bug your elder brothers.
Don't bug your elder brothers. All right. Well, here's another one. We're talking about family today. At the mall, a 5-year-old grandson joined a bunch of the other children in waiting to take pictures. You know how sometimes you used to be able to take pictures with the Easter Bunny? I don't know, do they still do that?
Maybe not so much the
Probably
Easter
not
Bunny,
right now
but
during
more
the
Santa Claus, I
pandemic,
guess.
but Santa Claus, yeah. Well, this was the Easter Bunny, and suddenly the grandparent realized that Jason had no interest. He was kind of digging in his heels to go and take the picture. And so they asked Jake, don't you want to sit on the bunny's lap? To which he shouted, "No, there's a man in his mouth." He was pretty observant. Maybe he was worried he was going to be eaten by the Easter bunny. All right.
I'm going to have to read that one again. I didn't get it.
You didn't get it? We'll let you work on it.
Okay.
Give us the next one.
I'm a little slow on these things. Okay, so there was this minister. Let's call him Craig just for giggles.
Oh, sure.
And he received a letter from a congregant. Should we name the congregant?
I'll leave that to you.
Okay. Let's see. Let's pick on a Al Mullen. Al Mullen sent Craig a letter. So when Craig got this letter, the minister, he opened the envelope and it had one word written on it. And that word was fool. Can you see Al Mullen saying that to you?
No, I can't.
Well, said Craig, the minister, the sender signed the letter, but he didn't write anything else in it.
Did you get that one, Bernie?
I got that one, but I did have the option of reading it a couple of times.
All right, now here's the last one from Sharon Christmas. And of course, it's a curling joke. And it's a little different take on one that I've shared with you in the past when I'm making fun of curling. And Sharon asks, why does Jesus always go first when the disciples go curling? What do you think, Jane? Why does Jesus always go first when the disciples go curling?
I have no idea.
Oh, well, because...
Is he the lead?
That's right. He's...
Sorry, did I?
No, that's all right. Yeah, he's the lead, but why would that be? Because the disciples let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Wah, 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 wah. Which is why good Christian people of faith have not played curling since the time of Jesus. I just wanted to point that out to you, Sharon, just to your chagrin, I know. All right, well, on this Holy Humor Sunday, the other thing that I wanted to do today, really briefly, is teach you an embodied prayer for joy that some of you may want to share. I know we have lots of grandparents watching with your grandchildren. It's one that we did with Spirit Kids Club on our Zoom on Tuesday night, and it's really simple. So you can be sitting for this one, or you can be standing. We'll see how Bernie once again takes directions. All right, this is an embodied prayer for joy. So the prayer is Holy One, and we're going to raise up our hands and wiggle our fingers with joy. May your joy, and we bring our hands together and wiggle our fingers, sustain us. May your joy bubble up in me. May your joy grow in all of creation, and we make a big sweeping arc. Amen. Can we do that one more time? May your Holy One, may your joy sustain me. May your joy bubble up in me. May your joy grow in all creation. Amen. I'll send that one out to you with pictures if you want to try that one with your grandkids.
With movement?
With movement.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Can't forget the fingers.
No, you can't forget the fingers.
Are you done with Sharon yet?
Am I done with Sharon?
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, right. You wanted
So,
to...
because Sharon's our chair of council, we got to keep her happy, right?
We do.
Because she's the person of power.
The person of
you
power.
thought you were,
Knox.
but really it's Sharon. Christmas, we're talking about. So anyway, I didn't know what to do this morning. Craig said Holy Humor, and I knew he was going to wear this hat. And what the heck am I going to do? So anyway, he'd mentioned that Sharon was giving you this hat to wear. So I thought, if we're talking about making Sharon happy, I know for a fact what makes Sharon Christmas happy is seeing a cowboy, tight blue jeans, and a pop top like this one. Now, Sharon, I hope you got a fan nearby because you're going to have to stay cool through this because I know what gets you going. It's curling rocks and button tops.
Curling rocks and Wrangler button-down
Yeah,
shirts.
that's all I could do. Sharon, hats off to you.
All right.
She's the grand poobah, so we
The
keep her
Grand
happy.
Poobah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Bernie. And it leads us into our prayer time. Let's join together in prayer on this Holy Humor Sunday. Source of love and laughter, we give thanks that we are a community that can be joyful together, that can laugh together, even in the midst of this challenging time. We thank you that we are so wondrously created, that we are made for relationship with you and with one another. We thank you for laughter with friends and loved ones. We thank you for the laughter of children and the song it creates in our hearts. By your great, unending love, you inspire in us a spirit of imagination and creativity. Help us to use that spirit to play more, to laugh more, and to create beauty in every possible way. Remind us to laugh out loud, for doing so will heal some of the wounds within us. Not all, but some. We pray for those who may not be able to find their laughter today, for those who are grieving or suffering illness of body or mind or spirit, for those who are lonely and in need of someone to share their time and friendship, for those who have not yet moved into the season and spirit of Easter and find themselves stuck in the gloom of Good Friday. May these and the troubles of all your people be soothed, blessed, and comforted by your holy presence. May we each find the laughter within us that sets our spirits free, and in that freedom, may we take your love into every part of our lives. These and all the prayers of our hearts we offer now in the name of Jesus, the one who taught us to pray together.
Abba, Ima, in heaven. Holy be your name. Your reign come, your yearning be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day the bread we need, and forgive us our wrongs as we forgive those who have wronged us. Guide us through life's trials and shelter us all from evil. In your grace, your wisdom, and your love, now and forever. Amen.
Now let us join in our song for the journey, number 624 in Voices United, Give to Us Laughter.
Laughter we done yet? I wasn't sure what was going on there.
We missed Donna Carmillo's laughter. Remember when
Oh,
Donna
should we try one?
would fill the space with laughter? That's what you were waiting for. I know, it's just not the same without Donna. We'll have to let her know.
Okay.
Sometimes she joins us and watches. Well, for our commission today, Earth Day is this Thursday, and your green team is hosting a really wonderful event on Zoom at noon. It's part of one of our brown bag lunch series, and it's Bee City Brandon. Biologist Sherry Punak Murphy will be with us on Zoom. You can register with the church office by emailing Sharon, and a little bit later in the week we'll send you the link for that. Join us on Thursday afternoon to hear about the importance of Brandon's pollinators. We'll learn about how we can take action to protect pollinators and enhance their habitat. And we'll hear the excitement about bees and butterflies and spiders and bats and flies and birds and all creatures that pollinate the amazing prairie plants around us. So again, that's this Thursday. It's open to friends and neighbors on Zoom, and register at the church office.
Craig, is that just for retired people to watch?
No, it's at lunchtime, hoping that
I see.
people who can take their lunch hour can join that.
Oh.
I know you always go home and take a nap, so
Yeah, or I might be at work, so I'll
You
have
might
to-
be at work.
I'll have to take that up with the Green Committee.
yeah. That's just another way. Usually they do these brief brown bag lunches, but you're right. A lot of times it's mostly retirees that join in those. All right. As we wrap up on this day, as we move into this Earth Week together, I also want to mention to you that there's a Kairos action on Thursday afternoon at 4:30 here outside the church, and you can find information about that on our email news and on our Facebook page. Now, deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. Deep peace of Christ, the light of the world to you. Amen. Go make a difference. Number 209 in More Voices.
Go make a difference in the world.
lights off.